Yo, Wingnuts, what's happening? What's going on? You're watching the BST Ford channel. Man, listen. Just kidding. It's Chuck. I tricked you. So I'm right in the middle of trying to put my car back together, and I thought I'd take a break and give you guys an update on that video I made last week about my rear suspension squeak. So I want to thank you guys for leaving me so much good feedback on that video, and with it I'm 99% sure I've been able to properly diagnose and isolate this noise, and now I'm about 50% sure that I'm going to be able to fix it. So that's why I'm kind of asking for your help on this video. So again, I want to thank you guys, and I put your guys' names down below, so you can go down there and give each other high fives. So this video, I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit long. So if you look down on the bottom of your screen, I put in chapters. So if you're looking for information, you'll be able to find it a little bit easier by skipping around. So first, let me talk about the diagnosis on how I was able to find out what was causing that squeak. And if you missed that video and you want to hear the noise, I put a link to that video down below if you want to hear the noise. So the first thing I did is I got it up in the air and I gave it a good visual inspection. And the first thing that I saw was pretty apparent where the noise was coming from. And this right here is the rear control arm, the upper control arm. And you can see, you might be able to see right here is where the bushing has popped out of the little holder. And on this side you can see it's sunken in. And let me show you what a new one looks like side by side. So once I saw that this bushing has torn and it's popped out of its little socket, I was pretty sure that's where the noise was coming from, and so I wanted to confirm and verify that. So what I did is I took some silicone lube and I sprayed it in here and I saturated it, and that's why it's so filthy right now. And after I did that, I drove it for about a week, and lo and behold, no more squeaky noise. So that right there let me know that that caused the problem, and that was the only bushing that had been bad. The other thing I did is I checked all 8 bolts and fasteners to make sure they were tight and not loose, and they were just that. So the only problem that I had was this one control arm, and so I started looking for parts, and a lot of you guys mentioned to stop by Rock Auto, and I found a single control arm for $30. And I thought about it, with my luck, if I replace just the one, maybe a little bit down the road another one's going to fail. So some more people recommended that I just go ahead and replace all 4, and so I have a feeling that's what I might do. So these are this is the kit that I found. I found this at 1A Auto, and it comes with all 4 rear control arms, 2 upper, 2 lower, and it also comes with these cute little sway bar links, and it was all for $83.95. And I chose these over the OEM Motorcraft because on the website it says these have a lifetime warranty, and because I'm installing these myself, if it ever fails, it's only about 30 minutes of labor to pull one of these out and send it back for a new one. So I thought that was kind of nice that they have a lifetime warranty on this. So when I got these, I was looking for information, and I wanted to look up the torque specs, and I found them. And when I looked it up, I'm using this this software, this repair manual software from Auto Repair Source, and it's written by the motor people. And ever since I've been using this software, it's been working out pretty good because the price is right. It's free. And I've got a video on how to get this service, and you can look it up for any car from like 1960 and newer, and I'll put a link to that video down below. But basically it's through your local library. You just go down there and they'll give you access to it, and you can bring it up when you're at home. So I was reading through this, and I got the torque specs, and then I found this to my shock, and it's got the manufacturer's recommended repair procedure, and in here it says to discard, and it says to discard the old hardware and reinstall new hardware, a new bolt and a new lock nut. So once I read that, I started looking up how much, or to find the hardware, and I was having trouble finding it. So I went down to my local Ford dealer to pick up the hardware, and to my shock, this hardware is not cheap. So for 8 bolts and 8 lock nuts, I'm not even going to tell you how much they are individually. I'll just show you the whole shebang here. So this is just the hardware. It was, maybe you can see that, they want $270 for 8 nuts and 8 bolts, and I thought that was a little high. So I was I've got a good relationship with the parts guy there, and I said, what's going on here? And he says, well, these are stretch bolts. And I'm familiar with the torque to yield bolts, but I didn't know they used them on suspension parts. So I held off on that, and I wanted to take these off to get a better look at the bolts here. And these are them right here. So if they look a little clean, it's because I took a wire brush to them and I cleaned them up so I could get a better look at them. And they're both 10.9 grade, which I think is the metric grade for the grade 8. And I also saw they've got a stamping on here. This one says SFT, and I looked that up, and I think that's the manufacturer. And this one has a logo, and I think that's the manufacturer. So I'm looking at these bolts, and the threads are clean and not damaged. And when I removed these, before I removed them, I took a wire brush and I cleaned up the threads to get the brake dust off. And then I shot some penetrating oil in there, and when I removed these, they came out smooth as butter. And normally when I remove bolts that are going to come out stripped or damaged, you can feel the resistance when you're backing them off, and I didn't get that with these. So I have a feeling these bolts are still good, but what I don't have faith in is these lock nuts. And after I clean these up, I saw that they have a nylon insert in this lock nut, and that's the locking mechanism to keep it from backing off under vibration. So and it's got these on all the bolts. So I'm at a crossroads. Do I want to reinstall these old bolts and reuse them, or should I get new bolts? So that's my question for you guys. when you have experience replacing these suspension parts, do you reuse the bolts, or do you get new ones? Or what I was thinking about, before I started this, I got out my anti-seize, because I saw someone put anti-seize on these bolts, but now I'm thinking, you know, maybe I'll put a little dab of Duya of anti-seize on the bolt, and then maybe put a couple drops of Loctite on the nut and let them fight it out. And go ahead and give me a thumbs down, because that was a terrible joke. I'm just joking. I would not do that. Okay, back to these bolts. Once I got these part numbers, I was able to find a better schematic, and I found this on the fordparts.com website, and I got a better understanding of the hardware here. And once I got the part numbers, I was able to find some cheaper prices at Tasca Auto, and I'll put all these part numbers and prices down in the description. But for 8 nuts and 8 bolts, the cheapest I can find them is $132, and so that's a little bit better, but that's a heck of a lot more than I paid for these dang control arms. The control arms are only $83.95. So that's kind of where I'm at. I really don't know what I'm going to do. Since I only have one failed control arm, I think what I'm going to do tonight, just to get this car back together so I can drive it, is I'm going to reuse the old hardware. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to index the bolts with this solidified paint marker, or I might even have or I have an awl, and I might even scratch an index marker on there, or an index mark on there, and take a picture of it, so that if it starts to walk itself off and loosen, I'll be able to know. So let me give you a shot of how this thing goes in the car. Oh yeah, and one other thing, because this kit was a 6-piece kit, and I only need these control arms because both of my cars do not have the sway bar links. If anybody needs a sway bar links, maybe leave a comment down in the comment section that you need these, and maybe I'll find a way to ship them out to you. And these sway bar links, on the 1A Auto website, they sell them for $35 for a pair, and I looked up the OEM Motorcraft, and the Motorcraft are only $12 each. So I don't think they're worth that, but you know, maybe you'll have some use for them. All right, let's go over to the car. Okay, so these are directional. They only go in one way, and they're not labeled like the OEM arms are, so pay attention to that. And this will slide right into there just like that. And another question I have for you guys is, oh yeah, and this is the, there's the little, there's the second lock nut, and I tried to pull that out to show you and clean it up, but I have a feeling if I remove that, it's going to damage it and I won't be able to get it back in. So that is the lock nut, and there's where the bolt that's the hole where the bolt goes in, and this is where the other bolt goes in, and this is the lower control arm right there. So my other question is, in the repair procedure, it says that I've got to tighten these bolts at curb height. So that means I've got to reinstall this arm and get the bolt seated, and then I've got to take it off the jack stands and get all 4 tires on the ground with the car's weight on all the suspension. And when I do that, I'll be able to tighten this bolt no problem. I'll have access to that. But if I put the tire back on, I do not have access to tighten this bolt right here. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I will put the tire back on, get everything buttoned back up, set it down, and then I'll jack up the I'll put my floor jack underneath the differential, and then I'll put my jack stands underneath the rear axle and then remove the tire. So the car will have all of its weight on the suspension to give me access to this bolt so I can tighten it. But if you guys can have a better idea or an easier idea, please let me know. Okay. Oh yeah, one other thing I did want to mention is that these control arms fit a wide range of cars, and according to this documentation, they fit all Lincoln Town Cars, Crown Victorias, Grand Marquis from 1998 to 2011. And so one other thing I was thinking about is, because I just have the one control arm that's bad right now, I'm thinking I'll just replace just this one, and then I'll wait, you know, maybe a week, a month, 6 months to see how things are going, because that means I can also use these arms on my 2004 Crown Victoria, or maybe even a future car if I'm lucky enough to get a Lincoln Town Car in the future. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.